Hello, this is episode number 12 of East Meets West, the podcast where Nick and I podcast every couple weeks from our respective homes in Ottawa and Calgary. Nick, did I do that right?
It's uh it's all about how the individual wants to present it, you know? So
Mhm.
if that's how you wanted it, then it was perfect.
Yeah, it was fine. I'll take it for now.
I'll call it Unwind Media's hardest podcast in that there's the least amount of fluff in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
The other ones are pretty much all fluff, I gotta say.
basically. Have you heard Ottawa? It's just
Oh man, Nick, it's gonna sound so good tomorrow. You have no idea.
ooh, excited. Do you have like multiple uh things, the thing I'm talking into right now?
Yep, we each have a microphone.
Oh, I'm as
We've always had
excited for
multiple.
the word microphone as I am for the tech update.
Yeah. Nick, do you want to tell people? This is part follow up part. Do you want to tell people why we sound maybe a little more uncomfortable than we would otherwise this episode?
I don't feel as though
I mean,
I feel or
okay,
I sound uncomfortable, but I
part of me feels more comfortable. Part of me feels less comfortable. Could you
was
explain?
going to say long-time listeners to the show, but viewers to the show will see that neither Rob nor I are wearing shirts,
Yes.
and listeners, well, they might sense it somehow. I'm just going to move around like this, and they won't hear rustling. It's
Yep. No
just,
wrestling at all.
yeah.
I'll do the same.
Yep. hmm So we are topless this
Yes, we are.
podcast. Hashtag free the nipple.
Is there a reason why we are topless?
Last episode, we talked a lot about toplessness
Mhm.
and how it relates to equality in general. And so we decided to exercise our right this time.
Although our right is not the one being taken away. This is
Yeah, no,
more,
that's totally. But I mean, solidarity
yeah,
or something.
absolutely solidarity.
Yeah. I mean, it was never the problem for men to expose their bare chests, but yeah, free
Probably
the
not going to
nipple.
convince a lady to do the same on a video podcast.
And that's the problem. I
That's a
mean, you
whole different
probably
show.
couldn't, but I don't know, it's sad that we can't have that kind of equality.
It is.
If anyone wants to podcast topless with us, they are more than welcome. If
Absolutely.
they want to talk about politics and beer and hockey, because that's usually what we talk about.
Exactly. And well, that being said, why don't we get to politics? We had some big announcements today.
Yeah, speaking of gender equality,
Yeah.
we have a cabinet that is 50% men, 50% women. Well, not counting the prime minister.
Sure.
The prime minister's cabinet has reached gender parity.
Yes. I was trying to phrase this in such a way that because right, we have a bunch of ministers now, 30 ministers,
We do.
and we have one prime minister.
Yes.
And I wanted to phrase a joke in such a way, and I wasn't able to do it. I'll preface that. I wanted to phrase the joke such that Justin Trudeau was just the transformer equivalent. Like I wanted to say he was Minister Prime, like a transformer would be, but there's no way to phrase that joke properly. And I feel kind of bad, but so we have a bunch of ministers who are equally in number, at least male and female, and then we have one Minister Prime.
I think because they did come in on a bus.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if Kent Hare did because of the wheelchair, but do you think when they left, he said, "All right, cabinet, roll out"?
Absolutely, he said that. I think he especially said that to Kent.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Jokes are fun.
So what are your thoughts on this? I mean, what did you think about Kent getting the position on the ministry
Well,
cabinet?
I didn't think he was going to get it until they started talking really hardcore about how he wanted it representative of the country at large. And so I thought about it and I went, well, I mean, geez, if he does want a minister from Alberta, there are 4 of them, and Kent's got a pretty good CV to be a minister. But I didn't have high hopes that he would be a minister, but he is the Minister of Veterans Affairs and Associate Minister of National Defense.
Right.
I have not gotten a phone call.
Not yet.
Well, of course. But yeah, and so that's exciting. Like, this is the first time in Canadian history that the cabinet has been 50% men, 50% women. And perhaps the most shocking part is that all it took was for someone to say, I'm going to do this now.
Yeah. And actually following through.
And with spectacular, as with all spectacular discoveries and things like that, you look at it afterward and go, well, why hasn't it always been that way?
Yeah. Well, you did you see the video that I think it was the CBC posted? He was asked by a reporter,
Rosie Barton.
Yeah, why? And he's just like, well, it's 2015. I figured it was time for this to be a thing. It should have been a long time ago.
One. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is great. That's just stellar. Yeah. Pretty happy.
The ironic part of me, the joking part of me wants to say, yeah, go men. Good decision, Mr. Trudeau. Way to keep the balance. But yeah, I won't say that.
It's just high five ourselves as men being so proper now, finally. Yeah, exactly. 2015. It only took of Canadian Confederation. Yes, that's exactly. All. That's all it took.
Did any of these other ministers stand out to you as being noteworthy?
Our Minister of National Defense is like a veteran of 23 years in the military, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
I was honestly a little sad that I didn't see Bill Blair as Minister of Public Safety or something like that. Not saying that, the current analog, I'm not actually sure. I haven't looked into this nearly enough. But I'm not saying the current minister in that capacity is less qualified. I'm just saying, celebrity candidate, GTA, took down Rob Ford.
Sure.
I don't know. But yeah, in terms of personalities, not so much. Although, the minister in charge of sports and people with disabilities.
Yeah.
One, and this comes from Kaya's psychological studies, because we talk a lot about learning. That's what we do. Yeah. She pointed out to me early on in our relationship that you shouldn't refer to people with disabilities as disabled people, but rather people with disabilities, because just in terms of how the human mind works, there is a cognition thing that happens with that. So you should recognize them first as people with disabilities and not just a disabled person.
Sure.
And that minister is functionally blind and was also a Paralympian.
Wow.
So it was like, when they announced the title of it, it was like, man, Kent played pretty high-level hockey until he had his accident. So I feel like he would be great for sports and people with disabilities. And then they put her resume up, and I was like, nope, that's a solid choice.
Yeah, no kidding. I did want to point out there's also an astronaut in the cabinet now, and that makes me really happy.
Is it the honorable astronaut Mark Garneau or astronaut honorable Garneau? We discussed this earlier. I think it's astronaut always goes first.
Yeah, and you don't even almost need the honorable. That's just implied by the astronaut part.
And yeah, I was surprised he wasn't Minister of Science, because
yeah,
space.
Well, Minister of Transport. What is the best possible transport?
I hadn't thought of it that way.
Yeah. If anyone knows,
Yeah.
He might be one of the. He's probably
Trains,
one of the
automobiles,
fastest
and space
Canadians.
shuttles.
Yeah.
He's done them all. Yeah. What more could you want?
Yeah, I found it interesting, but I mean, I'm used to it. My background, I've been working the last couple of years at NSERC, and so I'm used to dealing with the Minister of Industry, and I don't. There is no longer someone named Minister of Industry. That has been presumably. I haven't done too much research into this today, but presumably been replaced by the Minister of Innovation, Science, and Economic Development,
Yeah.
which is
I'm
nice,
trying to. I'm just gonna try and pull up an article on this. This will make for
right?
great listening.
Well, I mean, and so NSERC they have two pillars of research, and they're innovation and discovery. So I feel like this minister kind of fits exactly in that
Hmm.
slot.
Oh, yes, Stéphane Dion
Yeah,
as Minister of Foreign Affairs, which great to see him back because
yeah,
yeah, they got trashed
right.
under Dion.
Hmm.
Yeah, innovation, science, and economic development. That's probably going to be the Industry Canada sort of
Yeah,
portfolio. But they also have a couple that kind of overlap just a touch.
yep. There's going to be a lot of kind of multiple involvement. It's hard to say for sure, but I feel like that's the closest fit.
Also, Minister of Small Business and Tourism.
Well,
That's an interesting one.
that's an interesting name, I've got to say.
Bardish Chagger?
Yeah,
Chagar?
that
Jagger?
awesome name.
I don't know. I'd say probably the best name is Hunter Tutu,
Yeah. Well, especially
Fisheries,
given that he's
Oceans, and Coast Guard.
yeah. I also thought that it was interesting. We've had Minister of Environment before. It's not a new position, but they added climate change to that portfolio explicitly
Yeah,
in the name.
environment and climate change,
Yeah,
which is, I mean, this is all purely symbolic.
it is.
And it is my sincerest hope that it won't be empty symbolism.
Yeah,
But yeah, I just, here's hoping.
yeah.
Also, again, just noteworthy, Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister, comma, Intergovernmental Affairs, comma, and Youth.
Oh, there you go.
Except CBC did not use the Oxford comma, so CBC, please remedy that. We do have standards here.
Uh, yeah. There's another interesting one here. Minister of Public Services and Procurement. So I don't really have the last time we went through this kind of cycle of picking a new cabinet and sort of renaming the cabinet positions as the new prime minister sees fit. Um, I'm not aware of any former minister of public services and procurement or anything like that. So it's interesting to see
No, it
that.
sounds like Public Works.
Yeah, but interesting
I don't
naming
know.
choices.
Like, yeah, because this is not the first time that names have changed,
Yep,
but exciting times.
absolutely.
Very exciting
It,
times.
it is a very diverse group, gender notwithstanding, and I'm really excited to see that. Lots of people represented here.
Oh, other quick note.
Hmm.
We have a minister of democratic institutions. However, we do not have someone specifically appointed to be the government representative in the Senate. And that's interesting. Because up until this point, I guess the leader of the Senate has been a member of the prime minister's cabinet.
Okay. Yeah. So, what do you see that as? Do you see that as indicating something, or just
Um, I listened to an interview with one of the Senate liberals not long ago, but they were saying that the Senate does have a question period as well. And it usually goes to the leader of the government within the Senate. But since the liberal senators have been expelled from the liberal caucus, uh,
okay? So
like it,
don't know
there's
yet.
unless they themselves elect a leader or self-select a leader, there's no one to take those questions, and it doesn't seem like Trudeau named one today.
Right. So, based on your understanding, could that change? Like, can this shift at all? Can he appoint one, or is this kind of it for his current time?
I'm not entirely sure how that works. I know they do cabinet shuffles, so he
Mhm.
could, shuffle it around.
Right. Yeah. But it's a lot of interesting discussion, and it's good to see at least one campaign promise completely followed through on day one, like during the swearing in process.
Yeah, this is day zero right here. He's
Yeah.
not even been prime minister for what it's now,
12 hours less.
7 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm Um, I should we should probably stay on the topic of liberals here for a minute and just discuss how our applications to the Liberal Party are going. I had
Yes.
I had
Rob
three
and
different
I
people
are sorry.
send me the email that they received from the Liberal Party saying
Oh,
apply to the Liberal Party, and while I have not done so yet, I feel as though I'm in good company in applying soon. What about you?
yes. Well, I am currently one of over 11,000 applicants,
Okay.
so that's reassuring.
Yes.
They have about, I guess, 1,000 positions to fill, but whew, like
So,
they had an email sent out on last Friday
mm,
saying, oh, send in your application to work with the Liberals in forming the new government. And I thought to myself, well, I'd work for the government because my belief internally anyway has been that if I have to leave Calgary, I would like it to be for something really good.
yeah,
So joining the public service in Ottawa, I would totally be happy with leaving Calgary for that purpose.
right.
So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll send that in. Got my feet wet in politics and I liked it enough. And then the Monday they're like, yeah, we have 11,000 applicants. It's like, oh,
I'm a little encouraged to hear. I didn't know exactly how many positions they were looking for, and so hearing that it's a pretty big number is reassuring a little bit. But also, when I got the email forwarded to me, opening the sheet, the application form, it's a really simple form, so it's not a lot of work to just upload a resume and hit apply. It
yeah.
could take all of 30 seconds if you wanted it to.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel so bad. I feel like if I put in my best resume, I would at least still have a shot. I'm not just kind of, it's not doing nothing, but it's just doing almost nothing.
Yeah. Um, and apparently the resumes they've gotten have been impressive, like PhDs, lawyers, et cetera, et cetera.
Makes sense.
I'm not sure how many of them have on the resume that they have worked for a cabinet minister,
Yeah.
but so at least I got that going for me.
Does it still count if you worked for them before they were one?
He's a cabinet minister now, and I worked for him.
Well, that's what I mean.
I'm gonna say yes for entirely self-serving reasons.
Like, I mean, if he would provide a reference in any capacity, then I would say it still counts.
The best reference would be like, "Hey, you know this guy Nick? Yeah, I know him. Oh, cool. Thought he was lying."
Because they would actually go through the effort with each application to check.
For whatever reason, I'm assuming that he opens the email with Kent in the room
Yeah.
because naturally,
I mean, it's Justin going through all these applications. So obviously he has his cabinet with him to make these decisions.
well, apparently it's either the government or the party that takes care of staffing for cabinet ministers.
Right.
So I don't know how much actual say he has in it.
Yeah. The sarcasm in that statement was completely missed by you, so I think we can safely move on.
Yeah, sorry, I got briefly distracted there.
That's okay. It happens. Um, you have on here Remembrance Day is coming up a week from today, if my math is correct. You have here you can't find a poppy.
I can't find a poppy. I I've been out and about and out and about and oot and about,
Hmm.
and I have not found a poppy yet. I am flummoxed because you're only supposed to wear it for this like 11-day period.
Right.
And here we are
Um,
almost halfway through and I haven't done it yet.
I mean, I haven't left the house much, but I did see one at the grocery store last time I was there on the weekend.
See, I've been to the grocery store and I haven't found one. I didn't find one there.
Huh.
I've been to a coffee shop and those are like the two places you find them.
It sounds like you got to go down Main Street and you got to go door to door, find one.
I like how we connect that up. It sounds like you got to go down Main Street there. You got to go door to door,
Yeah.
find yourself a pappy. Well, what's Main Street here? Like
Well, I
center?
know. I mean,
17th? 10th is like pretty exciting if you
Stephen
get
Avenue.
towards
Yeah, it could be
Craft.
anything.
Oh, yeah, Stephen might. Hmm.
Depends
Maybe
where
I'll
you're
go to
from.
OJ's and get. OJ's has some pretty great happy hour specials, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, I think $5 pints of anything Albertan. Or,
That's not bad.
and you know what? They call it domestic. They say, these are our domestic pints. The domestic pints are the ones that are like right around the street.
Right.
Whereas other places like Loco Lou's have domestic pints on sale. It's like, oh, cool. So can I get a wild rose? They're like, oh no, it's domestic. I'm like, how how so you're using the word domestic, and I'm not sure you really know what it means.
Right.
It's like, oh, Canadian, Coors, Bud, Blue. It's like, well, are they domestic
They're like,
or
it's like discount.
or maybe not Bud, but yeah. So
Yeah. I've
I
heard
have,
I've heard it used that way too.
yeah, but yeah, I should just go to OJ's and have a cheap pint between 4 and 6.
Yeah.
Maybe find a poppy.
Yeah, for sure. I speaking of reasons not to leave the house, um maybe we could talk a bit. I've been wanting to, it's been a while since I wrote about Soylent, and I kind of want to talk to someone about it.
Okay.
So I have been, it's been almost a month. It'll be a month next week that I've not had a job.
Mm-hmm.
And as such, I've not been riding my bike to work. I've not been making any sort of kind of transportation to and from work. Uh, and so I have lost about 30 pounds since the summer when I started riding my bike and I started having Soylent. And I have found in the 3.5 weeks since my last bike ride that I've been able to basically lose about a pound a week still. And I don't have to try very hard. Like I can eat pretty much whatever I want as long as I am aware that, like, I weigh myself every day and I'm aware that I'm not going crazy, because I'm still having Soylent at lunch. And I find that, I don't know, have you found the same thing in that it makes you full even if you're not exercising as much as you maybe would like to?
Now, when you say going crazy, I mean, we've been over what you eat in a day.
Right. No, when I mean going crazy, I'm talking about old me going crazy. Like I would just sit and eat a bag of chips out of nowhere and then eat, like, buy a 12 pack of hot dogs and eat them in 2 days. Like I'm
Sounds
talking
amazing.
just buy a lot of food and eat all of it in a
Oh,
very
okay.
short amount of time.
All right. I was going to say that's not entirely inconceivable.
Right. Like I went to a Halloween party and I ate a whole bunch of cookies and chocolate and candy and I drank some, oh, I didn't drink any beer that night actually, but I had
I
probably
am
three
so
times.
sorry to hear that.
Well, I had to drive, you see.
What kind of a Halloween is that?
I know.
Drive? You mean you didn't take an Uber?
I did not take an Uber. It would have been normal taxi fare amount for me to take an Uber. And so
Oh,
I just
God.
drove. I know. I know.
Have you thought about getting a moped, particularly after
Yeah,
Macklemore's smash hit downtown, which
I
is
have.
amazing?
But the problem with the moped for me is, I mean, it has the obvious downside of being very quick and easy to get around from place to place. Um, But
Is winter?
well, winter being one thing, but also I kind of like biking. I kind of like actually putting the effort in.
Yeah, as do I. But
Yeah. And so Los Angeles, especially downtown, obviously, you're not going to get a lot of snow. You're not going to get a lot of inclement weather that would stop you from being able to ride a moped. But here, you probably only have 6 or 7 moped months, maybe even less. I'm not
in
convinced
Ottawa?
it's a good idea.
Eh.
Now, if I could get a four wheeler, like an ATV type of thing going on, where I can just ride in the bike lane all year long, well, not all year long, but when
Well,
it
you
is
can't
snowing.
ride in the bike lane on an ATV. It's not how that
All
works.
right, when it's snowing, I'll ride in the bike lane because obviously there's no bikers there except for the crazy
Can
ones.
you not go the speed limit? Because if you can't go the speed limit on this vehicle, why are you riding that vehicle?
Well, you can't go the speed limit on a moped. I mean, I guess you could probably go 50, but you're not going to
Which is the
go.
speed limit frequently.
No, I know, but I'm saying like that's the absolute slowest the speed limit gets unless you're riding around a schoolyard. You probably wouldn't get up to 60. I don't know if I'd feel comfortable going 60 on a moped.
Well, look at you,
Yeah.
cautious Curtis or something.
I would feel probably pretty comfortable going 60 on a bicycle. I've hit I'm sure I've hit 50 at least, 55 going down a hill, but
Yeah, I've hit 55 too, but I don't want to maintain that over the long term.
that would be fun if you could. Can you imagine if your bike was powerful enough to actually do that?
Jesus, no, like it's.
In straights, obviously. You'd
I'd
slow
hit
down.
that going down Edworthy every day. I'd hit that,
Hmm.
and every day I rode the bejesus out of those brakes.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
there are a lot of curves, and if anything or anyone jumps out from behind those curves, you need to be in control.
I really miss my bike, Nick.
I can imagine. I have the utmost sympathy for you. I have gone for extended periods without my bikety bike, and it's awful.
Yeah.
It's just awful. Like you look at a 3 kilometer walk ahead of you, and you're like, God, and I have to hoof this like a sucker.
It would take 5 minutes or less on a
I was gonna say
bike.
this could be done in minutes, mere minutes, but it's gonna take me a half a bloody hour to walk because my forward momentum isn't conserved. This is stupid.
Yes, we are in complete agreement, but the insurance check has come in, and so hopefully I'll be able to take advantage of some winter sales and replace it with something that is at least most of what it was.
That's good. You should consider drop handlebars. You really should.
Oh, I know. I mean, the ones I had were, I don't know what you call them. I tried to look it up. They just come out at 90 degrees and go straight up.
Bullhorns, I
Is
think.
that the official name? They're like
Maybe.
kind of like race. I think they're called racing handlebars to be honest. But like,
Like mountain racing handlebars, maybe.
yeah, man, I miss that bike.
On that note,
Mm,
I've noticed within the bike culture here anyway that I've seen a couple bike rental places and they've got the bottom of the barrel thing, which is a specialized LA. That's the cheapest bike you can rent, which is a nice enough bike. It's like $1,200 because it's a carbon fork.
sure.
Words, what are they? There's a carbon fork on the front.
Yeah.
And then they're like, and this is our mountain bike. And that's, standard bike, mountain bike. And then they had their performance bikes. And I was like, ooh, what's that? Is it like a time trial bike? Is it just a full carbon fiber, super nice bike? And it's like a full suspension mountain bike. They're like, yeah, this is our primo stuff. This is full performance, full suspension. It's like, God, why?
I don't think you know what that means.
Do you actually like the only reason I need this is if I actually intend on throwing myself off a cliff
Yeah.
while on a bicycle.
I Ever since I first got my bike that didn't have any suspension, I could never go back. Like it removed so much speed possibility.
So you're not dragging around shocks.
Yeah.
I rode on one bike with shocks recently. Well, in that it was in the last couple of years. And honestly, you're trying to go up a hill and the shocks are just
Yeah.
the whole time, just sapping all your momentum, all your
Yeah.
energy. It's just horrid,
Yeah, that's the worst. Oh man.
just terrible. And I mean, it's, oh, even on the tinier, like slick tires, rather than the ones I have, I'm not sure
Yeah.
I'd want to do everyday riding on them because it does take you for a slightly rougher ride. But man, they spin up so quickly and it's just, oh,
Yeah.
I should go rent a bike.
Would you recommend, if I'm looking for a new bike, would you recommend the a belt?
Um, it depends on what you want.
Just a regular road bike?
Mine's a hybrid, which
Mhm.
is
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah.
meant for city driving. Like
Exactly.
it's not tuned for going up and down Edworthy every day, which is well regrettable, but yeah, it is what it is.
Right.
I like it a lot, especially if you want to be able to wear nice pants somewhere and not have to worry about grease or grit getting on them. And I mean, the obvious counter argument there is that if you just
Keep it clean.
maintain your chain all the time, it'll
Yeah.
be fine.
Right.
But it's nice not to have to worry about it at all.
Mhm.
I like the internal gear hub because I still haven't really had an issue with it other than the time I took my tire off entirely the wrong way.
Okay.
Like it's never needed tuning unless I was the reason it needed tuning.
Mhm.
So it's really, really handy for commuting
Okay.
and going to the grocery store, that kind of stuff. And I've done some like 50-kilometer rides on it, 60-kilometer rides, but that's kind of pushing what it's for.
Okay. So is does the gear system specifically make that a worse idea than having a chain for longer rides or for
It's more the geometry of the bike.
okay. Okay.
And the belt system is slightly less efficient than a chain system where a chain system gets something like 97% return,
Hmm.
whereas the belt and well the internal gear hub it varies a little bit, but you're looking more at something like 93% return on your effort.
Okay.
So that's another consideration, but
Hmm.
it's it's not meant for setting speed records. It's meant for getting you from point A to B.
Right. I'm intrigued because that sounds similar to what I experienced when I had my knee surgery. They basically said we can repair your knee. You won't get to 100%. Basically saying you're not going to be setting any new speed records sprinting. And I was like, my thought to myself was, I probably wasn't anyways, but I was still sad to know for sure that I wouldn't be. So I feel like I would feel the same way doing that. Like I'm deliberately taking away from my own capabilities.
I'd like
But
to speak just to that exact note for a moment
mm,
because I remember at the end of the summer of 2013 when I was, biking all day, every day, pretty much.
yeah,
And I remember at the end of the summer thinking, I wonder if this is the peak physical condition I'll ever be in. And I thought, no, like I've got this baseline of cycling ability now, and I can just build on it going forward. Future's so bright, I got to
right,
wear shades.
yeah,
And then I broke my hip, and I just went, oh, damn it, because I'm still not back to where I was. Like my legs are still at least very slightly asymmetric.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can tell when I'm using them that they're definitely asymmetric, but I mean, they don't look quite as bad now as they once did. But
right,
yeah,
huh.
that's
So
kind of sucks.
yeah,
Doesn't it?
that's actually a rather nice segue into the next point I wanted to bring up. So last night we're switching gears to hockey, by the way.
I saw
Uh,
that.
last night, Connor McDavid broke his clavicle. Uh, the number one pick in the draft, the phenom hockey player, will now be out for several months because he slid into the boards awkwardly and with two other people. And like you said, that sucks. I can't imagine how he's feeling in that moment and now for the next several months as he tries to recover.
Yeah. And granted, he's a professional athlete, so he is literally making millions upon millions of dollars to get better.
Hmm?
But it's tough. And I mean, if you can, my advice to everyone is that if you can go without breaking a bone, absolutely take that course
Oh
because
yes,
it is not pleasant.
no.
But yeah,
He's like 10 games into his NHL career, and that's such a huge setback. And modern
yeah,
medicine, don't get me wrong, modern medicine will speed his recovery greatly. Like he had surgery the next day, but man, that would be an immense bummer, to put it mildly.
yeah. And I mean, well, although apparently athletes are often better able to heal than
Mhm.
just us plebes. And
Well, how do you define athlete?
he gets paid to play a sport.
Oh, okay. I thought it might
So
qualify as one.
professional athlete.
Okay.
Sorry. Um, yeah, apparently they do have an easier time healing. So hopefully he's got that going for him. But
Yeah, I hope
mhm,
so. He was really excited. Well, he is really exciting to watch. I'm gonna put his probability of returning quickly with like a 99%. So,
but
but
yeah, I mean, at the same time, it's quicker than 4 months or something like that.
yeah, yeah. It probably depends on the severity of it as well. They may not know exactly what the timeline is, but
And for
yeah,
the rest of it, the Oilers are without McJesus.
yes. Hopefully they. I mean, he already had something like 12 points already. Uh,
My God.
7 or 8 games in a row, scoring or getting a point. So really too bad.
Wow.
Yeah. But so on to happier news, Nick. Tell me about the Leafs.
Rob, brace yourself. Or I know you're sitting down because I can see you.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to blow your shirt off because that's gone.
Yep.
But the Leafs, the Toronto Maple Leafs, have finally won a game at home.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Plan the parade.
uh,
I think they've now lost something like 8-1 too.
have you put any consideration into becoming a Flames fan instead?
Have you seen how the Flames are doing?
No, I'm just saying. I mean, you want to step up, right? You want to improve a little bit.
Are I'm not sure their records are that
No,
dissimilar.
I'm not sure they are, but yeah, the Leafs are they're an interesting team, to say the least.
I really like how they've been playing under Babcock. It's just finishing those chances that is just proving ridiculously challenging.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in a sort of mirror, the Habs lost their first game at home last night
Oh,
in overtime. So they still get 1 point at least from that.
so how was last night in the Attrell household?
It was fine. I only actually got to see the last half of the third period.
I'm not concerned about how you were feeling.
Well, Julia was asleep by the time
Oh, thank God.
they lost. We went
Bless
to
her soul, she didn't have to live through that.
exactly. We went to bed as the third period ended and overtime started, and
Mm.
it only took 30 seconds of overtime for the
Ooh.
Sens to score. So it was that quick.
And it's funny looking at Ottawa and Montreal and going, who do I want to win this match? I
Hmm.
really don't know.
I would think you would want Ottawa, but
Why though?
I
Well,
just
in fairness, I with Alfredson gone, I don't have nearly as big a hatred for them.
mhm. You obviously haven't seen Eric Carlson play.
He is amazing.
No,
Like,
he's a good hockey player. I'm
does
not
it
commenting on his skill.
does he check people in the numbers? Is that a thing he does?
I don't know.
Because it would be befitting,
It would,
as I understand it.
yeah.
I'll have another legendary Swedish captain who just numbers are like red to a bull with him. Um, yeah, yeah. I
So
forget where I was supposed to go with that. Oh yeah, who wins, who loses? I don't know.
that's I guess we'll leave that for history to decide.
Sure.
As you move further and further away from Toronto, you may have to switch allegiances, and who knows what team you'll end up cheering for. Maybe the Canucks, maybe the Oilers.
I did. The thing is, I'm not nearly as invested in the storyline now.
Well, the Toronto storyline.
No, I am still like I've been reading, watching, etc. for 7 years, like with a lot of interest. And then
Hmm.
you plunk me into Calgary, and I'm just like, oh, they're doing stuff. They got this Johnny Gaudreau kid. He seems all right,
Fair enough.
but honestly, the it was last year that the Flames' possession numbers were just not great, and they were riding a high PDO, as I understand it. Their shooting percentage and save percentage was high,
Yeah.
and I looked at it and went, yeah, they're not going to do as much next year. And someone told me that I was wrong, and they were just it was all going up from there. I was like, yeah, okay, we'll see what happens. And lo and behold, but it's been interesting because the Leafs and the Flames last year were just riding the ridiculous waves where they were being outshot and outplayed, but they were still pulling out wins. Maybe the Calgary Flames less so.
Hmm.
And this year, the Leafs have been outshooting, outplaying, just playing great hockey, and they just keep losing. And they finally beat the Stars after being outshot and outplayed. And it's like, ah, what is it with this team? Why do I
Sure.
like them?
I feel you on that one. I have no idea why you like them, but it's clear to me that you do.
The benefit here is that it was dark days last year in which I just like they were very clearly making terrible decisions and it was taking them down. And
Mhm.
they kept making the same kinds of decisions. And I just looked at it and went, I don't know if I can keep doing this. It's not like I'm gonna just switch teams, but I'm probably just not gonna really pay that much attention to the Leafs
Okay.
for a long, long time.
Right.
And then they fired Carlisle and got Mike Babcock, started doing intelligent things informed by analytics.
Hmm.
And I feel like they're moving in a better direction. So it's easier now. I'm still not watching as much hockey as I would normally,
Yeah.
in part because I just don't turn it on as much right now. And the other part being that I live with someone who handles all the social planning for the household. Much to her chagrin, she wishes I would plan more things, but
Oh, of course.
because I am a terrible human being.
Yeah.
Um, but she doesn't really adhere to the schedule like I do,
The schedule.
the Leaf schedule.
Hmm.
So it's just, oh, we're going out tonight, but there's a Leafs game, and okay.
You can go somewhere where they're playing it.
You go to people's houses and they
Ugh.
don't care, and a lot of them don't have cable.
So this leads me to an interesting point in that I've been watching more hockey than usual. I have no real investment other than familial now, by law ties to the Habs. But I've been using
It
liberally.
kills me to hear you say that,
I know it
Rob.
does.
It does. It really
Um,
does.
the NHL app from Rogers and NHL Game Center, the whole thing, is incredible. If you have a Rogers subscription, uh, one of their cable internet packages, or one of their share everything plans, you get NHL Game Center for free, and you can just literally watch any feed of any game that's playing ever on the internet.
Oh, I do want that so much. It's like $150 last time I checked or something like
Yeah,
that for
yeah.
the season. And at the time I was like, that's outrageous. Why would I pay that? Now I look at it and go, it's
If you want to watch
probably
it
worth
all,
it.
yeah, you would need more
Well, I
data
mean,
than you have, but
even really?
if you're watching full NHL games,
Oh, well, let's think. If I paid, what is it, 5, $10 extra a month to get unlimited from Tech Savvy in Alberta,
yeah.
it's a little more to get unlimited usage.
Hmm.
Maybe bump up my down speed and the Game Center Live. It's probably still going to be cheaper than getting Cable One, that package too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, cable comes with like the NHL Game Center comes with the cable package, but yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. Like I can literally, no matter where I am, like on the bus last night, I just opened the app and started watching the game. It's like
Oh,
it's
that
good
is cool.
quality. It's if you have it, like I wouldn't suggest getting it just to like I wouldn't suggest signing up for a Rogers plan just to do that because Rogers is unavoidably terrible. But if you already have it, by all means, you should know that you can use it and it's awesome.
Mm. And I just, on that note, thinking about you coming home on the bus, I I just want to go on record as saying that I'm starting to miss Ottawa more and
Oh
more.
yeah,
Yeah. Just I've been watching the politics.
yes,
I saw Rideau Hall today and it just looks so gorgeous in the fall colors.
yeah, it did.
And I've actually been there. Like we went there on doors open to see Rideau Hall and all that jazz.
Right.
I sat down on a chair and was told that no, you're not supposed to sit on that chair. And I'm like, why the hell do you have this chair here then if people aren't supposed to sit on it? Which
What
happens
chair
all
is
the
that?
time, by the way. Have you ever been to a place and they have a chair out and they're like, oh no, you can't actually sit on that one? It's like, then why is there a chair here?
What chair was it?
Oh, I don't know. Some couch.
Oh, that makes yeah, that's bizarre.
And they just are like, you can sit on any number of these other chairs. And it's like, I, but I,
But I want that one.
yeah,
You always have the
strong
forbidden.
feelings on chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss Ottawa. I miss being near the seat of power. I miss my Ottawa friends who I now haven't seen for over. Did I come right before I left for Calgary this time?
You came last that I recall in what, January, February, somewhere in there? Maybe March? No, 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 it was earlier than that.
2014.
Yeah, it was about a year ago actually, I think.
It would have been September, October.
Yeah, it was about a year.
Yeah. Yeah, I miss seeing people there. I miss I miss the Ottawa bike paths. Although the bike paths here are just wonderful.
Yeah, they're both very good.
But I don't miss the humidity or the snow. That is just stupid.
It is. Although Calgary's way of dealing with the smaller amount of snow is arguably worse.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, most streets, the streets that I lived on when I grew up, they didn't plow them. They just allowed cars to slowly pack them into.
We also
Yeah.
have Chinooks here, so it's like,
Well, yeah,
why bother?
occasionally.
Have you been here for the snow routes? How recent is that? Because my understanding was that happened under Nenshi, and you weren't here for Nenshi.
Right. That happened, to my knowledge, before Nenshi was ever even. A
Which,
household
by
name.
the way, I thought that was hilarious. That
Which,
I saw snow roots for the first time and went, What is a snow root? Like, is it especially prone to snow? Or and I asked around, I was like, oh yeah, they plow those. It's like, oh, that's adorable. You only plow the major thoroughfares.
yeah, it gets a little sketchy after a while. If it does snow a lot, it gets treacherous.
Yeah, I could see our crescent or whatever it was on or in London. Just they never plowed,
Right.
and it quickly became just packed this thick with ice,
Yeah.
snow, whatever that is.
Hmm.
Although we didn't have the benefit of Chinooks,
Right.
which will take care of that PDQ.
Yes. That's a good acronym.
Thank you.
One of the
Not mine.
very few that I didn't have to ask about, even though I've never heard it before. Uh, so, Nick, we have one more thing on the agenda, and I know literally nothing about this. So, you are going to have to introduce the topic to me, and then we can talk about it.
Oh
Um,
man, I haven't gone over the severity or the whole numbers game yet,
mhm.
but Hydro 1. Are you familiar with the story, Rob?
No, I'm not at all familiar.
Okay. Well, back when I was a boy, Hydro 1 was the only hydro company for all of Ontario.
Okay.
And so, that was fine. Great, whatever. And then the Mike Harris government came in, and boy, did they change a lot of stuff. One thing they did was privatize Hydro One. And so I don't remember the exact specifics of it, but it was market based. After that, you had a bunch of different power companies doing a bunch of different things, yada yada yada. I mean, and the theory was that privatization, there a bunch of different companies are going to compete, and you're going to wind up with much lower power prices. Spoiler alert, didn't happen.
Okay.
And the following, that would have been, it was Harris and Eves. That was after Bob Ray. Then after Harris and Eves, it was McGinney, I think. McGinney took power, and I don't think it was a full-on reabsorption of Hydro One. It was something. But they basically took all the companies that had been created and said, okay, you're now Hydro One, but with the different labels or
Huh.
something like that, as I understand it.
Okay.
And now the Wynne government, it's funny because this is the same liberal dynasty from when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Like, Dalton McGuinness stepped down because of the whole gas plants fiasco and whatnot,
Yeah.
canceling them.
Hmm.
But now Wynne wants to sell Hydro One in order to build infrastructure because she came to power on a platform very similar to Trudeau's, in which she wanted to invest heavily in infrastructure to the economy going. But she wants to sell Hydro One to do it and take those funds and invest them into infrastructure. And that's a terrible idea. I mean, based on the historical precedent that they tried that already and it went terribly.
Sure.
And you're also depriving your government of that revenue going forward. Well, and I mean, there shouldn't be that much revenue. If you're offering it as a service, a truly essential service, I feel as though truly essential services should be absorbed by the government and administered by the government
Yeah.
because they're essential and that's how that works.
Hmm.
Just say it costs exactly this much and that's all you got to do. That's all you got to pay. But then you've just destroyed that for short-term goals. And granted, it's a very important short-term goal, getting Ontarians back to work, especially in the wake of the just disaster that has been the manufacturing sector.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what are you doing? Just like, I think it was the Star that said, listen, if you just don't sell this, you will get more money in the long run or within this 4-year period. You will take in more money from it than you would by selling it and then reinvesting.
Hmm.
Basically, it's a poor financial decision.
Yeah.
They're going ahead with it anyway. I don't like it.
It sounds, well, I mean, it sounds short-sighted.
And
It
granted,
sounds
I
like,
have not read up nearly as much as I should
mhm,
have on this matter because I am in Alberta now, and it does matter just a little bit less to me.
right. It sounds bad in that they already tried it, and yes, it may get you some money in the short term, but if in 5 years or 10 years you have to buy it back again, then what have you done really?
Yeah. Unless you plan on buying it back in a few years, and then what are you doing? Like,
Right.
just take the debt now when interest rates are low.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, is this a done deal or is this something that they're still
I
discussing?
don't believe it's a done deal. Um, the opposition parties are raising absolute bloody murder, and in my opinion, rightly so.
Hmm.
And it's funny because the conservatives, the progressive conservatives of Ontario, who were the party that originally privatized them, are now saying, "No, no, don't privatize it. We tried that and it was terrible. Don't do it."
Right.
And Andrea Horvath, I think, is the leader of the NDP in Ontario. Do you know
Okay.
this?
The name sounds very familiar.
I feel like it's Andrea Horvath.
Hmm.
Anyway, yeah.
Fair enough. It,
So that's what's happening there, and I think it's a terrible idea.
yeah. And I assume this is one of those decisions that the government is making, and there's not going to be any sort of, there may be consultation, but there's not going to be any sort of vote or consideration from the public. It's going to be, you elected us and we're going to do this. So,
Yeah, they have a majority government, so there's
mhm.
not a whole lot that anyone else can do.
I mean, really, what's the worst that could happen is that they lose a bit of money in having to buy it back later. Is there something worse that could happen in the meantime?
Energy prices could go up more than they already have and just
Yeah.
stifle stifle Ontario industry further.
I mean, they're already high. Like they just went up again at the beginning of November.
Yeah, they're getting high, as I
Yeah.
understand it.
Hmm.
Especially poor rural people. Like they do get money back on taxes um, because of transmission costs and things like that. They get money back to mitigate it,
Right.
but it's expensive.
Hmm. Yeah.
The only way I could see this being of some kind of benefit is if they somehow hire more NDT people and I get a job.
Yes.
And that's not like a yay Ontario thing. That's a yay me thing, which is
Right.
not how you should think about something like that.
No, I mean, you shouldn't. You will and you can, but you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will read up more on that. Fingers crossed. And in our next episode, I can talk about how silly I was. How very, very silly.
Well, and how right you were. Right, but silly.
Maybe.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, Fun note, Chalk River's still looking for people. Put an application in up there because I could work on a nuke. That's really exciting. You know how much I love nukes,
That that you would. Yeah, that sounds perfect for you.
right?
Yeah.
Work on a nuke up in Chalk River.
I mean,
Go snowshoeing, go skating. Maybe not skating.
I guarantee you they received less than 11,000 applications.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll have to let me know how that goes as well if you hear more.
Yeah. Well, as it stands, I'm starting an exciting career with Hudson's Bay Company on Friday when I start orientation.
Something to do with pelts, I imagine.
Oh, yes.
Many luxurious pelts.
Beaver. It's a fine fur.
Yeah, I wish you all the best in that, and more specifically, I wish you the best in. Did you hear back about the NDT exam?
Not yet either, which is so frustrating. I was going to say it is exciting to be working for HBC when you consider that they have been in existence since 1670
Right.
and they were responsible for a lot of the settlement of Canada.
Yeah. Unless you're working for the British government, that's basically as old as you're going to get, relatively,
Yeah,
really.
pretty much, pretty much. So, I mean, that is exciting and it's nice to have a job and a paycheck. It's just one of these days, I'd like to do something that I went to school for, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I feel you on that one.
Yeah. Maybe with all this infrastructure investment, they'll need some more NDT people.
I would hope so.
I'll actually be willing to hire a trainee or two.
Yes. One can only hope.
Yeah.
Nick, do you have anything else to talk about this week, or are you good wrapping it up now?
Um, it's actually kind of warm in the apartment, but I'm okay with it right now.
For some reason, who knows?
Yeah. It was actually really nice earlier. You and I talked about this off air, but as the sun was streaming in at the beginning of the podcast, it was just illuminating my chest and my chest only,
Yes.
and it was very very angelic.
Yes, it was. And it
Yeah.
remains so, really, if I'm being
Thank
honest.
you. It's very kind of you, given that you can't actually see it with the camera angles here.
No, but I mean, when you first sat down, I saw it in all its
Oh,
glory, and
that's wonderful.
with
Thank you
your
so much,
hair,
Rob.
that was all I could think of was there's Jesus right there.
Oh, hashtag Western Jesus,
Yeah.
which is an active hashtag.
If if people are listening to this episode right now, I encourage you to at least go and look at some of the video feed because it's different than normal. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, I mean, and if you see Rob, just, I mean, you could get lost in those big blue eyes of his, but then there's the rest of them.
Now we're literally just teasing people to go from audio to video.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever floats their boat.
Hmm. All right, Nick. In that case, I'll take us home for the day and let people know that they can find us by searching East Meets West on Stitcher Radio or iTunes, and head to unwindmedia.com/EMW. And you can see all the episodes of the show. I encourage you to subscribe, and hope you enjoy it. Bye for now.
Toodaloo.